Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I read glitch in the matrix stories, usually. Stories that are just strange. Now let's get right into it. Story title. I had conversations with my brother before I found out he died a week before. Author name: Mortismalum. This is the first time I'm actually writing about this. So when I was 13, my older brother, who was 18, and I were on our way to a movie when we were hit by a drunk driver. I woke up in a hospital 4 days later, having lost my right leg and the other leg in a cast along with some other injuries. That night, I woke up to my brother sitting by my bed, telling me everything will be okay and to go back to sleep. Next day, my parents came to visit me and see how I was doing. I asked why my brother wasn't with them, and they looked at each other but didn't say anything. That night, I again woke up to my brother sitting by my bed, telling me he knows I can get through this, and that I need to be strong and overcome this and not let my injuries stop me from living my full life. We talked a bit, him not answering specific questions, but answering more general questions. I remember asking him why he was still wearing clothes from yesterday, because I was just unlike him to wear anything similar to what he wore the day before. He didn't answer that, but when asked how he was, he said better than he thought he would be, given the circumstances. He reminded me to be strong and keep living, and not let anything stop me, and how much he loved me, before telling me I should get some sleep again. The next day, my parents again came to visit me in the hospital, and I again asked why my brother wasn't with them, and they again looked at each other. And it was only after I said that I would like my family to visit together and not at different times, and would like my brother to visit during the day when we can talk more, instead of at night, that my dad asked what I meant, and I told him. Andy had been coming at night to visit. My mom broke down and left the room. My dad told me that it was impossible because Andy died in the accident instantly. I just didn't believe it and argued so much so frantically that I had to be sedated. That night, I had no visit, and next day, parents brought a newspaper article about the accident. Years later, my fiancée had an experience, and having never seen a photo of my brother, she described him to an absolute T and what he was wearing. Personal thoughts. Okay, first off, I'm just so sorry to hear about your accident. That's a brutality of life that can't go unmarked. Losing functionality in one's body, well, I'm always impressed by those who persevere regardless of the hand that fate deals them. And then losing your brother too. So the way this is written makes it very easy to empathize. So much that I'm almost tearing up reading it. But then the way your brother comforts you. It's beautiful. And this is so perfectly fitting with my own theory of ghosts. You know, that they're echoes or imprints, probably left behind by powerful events or emotions of the deceased. They're appearing to us in times of need, distress, maybe even just to comfort when they can. It's really touching to read this. Also, keep in mind one thing if you're not aware. Your brother is almost certainly still living, just in a parallel universe. Time still passes at the same rate, as far as we know, between them. So he's out there in a different reality, not even realizing he died in this one. You could almost consider that a form of heaven or reincarnation, if you'd like. Second story, which is a continuation of the previous one, from the author's Fiancée. Story title: Brother visited my fiancée. Since people asked on my last post, I got permission from my fiancé to share this. Something to note before we get into what happened. My brother died when I was 13 and we were both in a car accident. My fiancé never met my brother, never saw any photos of him before this. My fiancé is bipolar, extreme highs and extreme lows. We had been dating for 4 months at the time and just moved in together. I didn't know at the time, but she had gone off her meds. This all happened while I was at work, and she told me about it later. She went out for a walk to get some air because she was feeling really claustrophobic, the start of a manic, depressive episode. It got to the point she thought dying would be the best option, and standing at the corner, she thought the best idea would be to just walk into traffic. As she took a step off the curb, someone grabbed her and pulled her back, and turned around and gave her a huge hug too. Arms wrapped around her, telling her that she doesn't truly want to do this, that everything will be okay, that she's stronger than she realizes, and this isn't her time. Told her to just breathe nice, slow, deep breaths. She looked up at him and said thanks, turned around to wipe her eyes, and when she turned back, the person was gone. She told me about this when I got off work, and she wanted to post about it online to see if she could find the guy to say a proper thank you for his help and saving her. It was when she started saying what he told her and describing him that my heart started beating fast. I knew who helped her. She described him as being 17 to 18, athletic, slightly taller than her, dark brown shaggy hair, a big freckle birthmark under his eye with a blue shirt that said J.S. Jenks in yellow letters. It brought me back to the visits I got in the hospital, the shirt my brother wore on the day of the accident when I saw him by my hospital bed. I told her I know who helped her and I can't explain it. I told her it was my brother and she said it was impossible. It was a real person. She even got mad at me for suggesting it, because she never believed in ghosts or spirits or anything like that, a big skeptic. I asked her to please trust me, and that night, we drove to my parents' house and I went to the basement and found a picture of my brother and asked if that was who helped her, and her face went pale and kept asking how is it possible. I had no idea what to say because I didn't know either, but I told her how he came to me in my time of need, and how it looks like he came to her in her time of need as well. Still crazy to think about, and I definitely can't explain it. Personal thoughts. Okay, so your brother's echo or spirit is truly an MVP, saving you from perhaps a crushing ending from depression, and then years later your girlfriend at the time from committing suicide. This is very interesting too, because she wasn't near the car crash. You know, the old myth is that ghosts are bound to a specific location related to where they died, or if there's some emotional possession, they could travel with that. I think it's just a myth though. Space itself isn't a consideration for the leftover remnants of former human beings. It seems like energy just moves around, can be where it needs to be. More considerations here from your fiancé's account, touching on skepticism. It's very normal to question reality, to ask questions and not believe things on blind faith, at least the important things. I think it's a healthy instinct, but I think there's a disconnect between being skeptical and simply never asking questions or peering down avenues that might lead to the truth because they're socially taboo. I think this is a mistake. There's so much in this world that we don't yet understand, down to fundamental forces and right up to the celestial heavens. So I think, question it all, read personal accounts from people. Let's figure out what's going on in this world. It's the only one we have, at least for now, until Elon Musk gets us to Mars, which hey, might be soon. And that concludes our 2 stories for the night. If you enjoyed them and my narration of them, then consider leaving a like and also sharing the video. It's an excellent way to support the channel, but only if you'd like to, no pressure. And if you'd like to subscribe, I upload Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. EST. I'll see you all there.